Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar, good morning. It's an honor and privilege to join you all for this session, which primarily focuses on small island developing states, or SIDS as we call them. Comprising 39 countries, SIDS are home to over 65 million people and spread across more than 1,000 islands spanning the Caribbean, Pacific, Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean regions. Covering nearly 30% of the world's ocean through their exclusive economic zones, SIDS also serve as vital ecological hotspots, hosting 40% of the world's coral reefs and supporting more than 20% of the Earth's terrestrial biodiversities. SIDS, along with emerging maritime economies, play a strategic role in connecting global trade. About 80% of the world trade by volume and 70% by value is carried out by sea as per UNCTAD estimates. However, the participation of SIDS remain largely as transit points and not as key beneficiaries of maritime value chains. There are significant challenges faced by SIDS and emerging economies towards better integration into global maritime trade networks. Let me briefly touch upon them. Firstly, the critical infrastructural gaps, as many SIDS lack deep water ports, logistics hubs, and ship repair facilities, etc., which are required for global integration. Second, limited economic diversification. There's predominantly dependence on tourism as an industry. SIDS are therefore economically vulnerable and more sensitive to climate shocks and market fluctuations. Third, high dependence on imported fossil fuels for power, making them vulnerable to price volatility. Fourth, limited blue economy governance. Blue economy, as we all know, is a core concept that can help chart a development pathway. Many SIDS have integrated blue economy principles in their development strategies. However, due to insufficient data, maritime domain awareness, and legal capacity to manage EEZs, attracting responsible investors is not easy. Also, their unique geographical and environmental characteristics and narrow resource bases often necessitate higher implementation costs. Fifth, and most importantly, disproportionate impact of climate change. SIDS are prone to extreme weather conditions. We have just witnessed the devastation by Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica, and our prayers and thoughts are with the people of Jamaica and the government. The climate change also affects SIDS water resources, agricultural outputs, and fisheries, directly impacting the economic agendas. So essentially, climate change and associated risks pose an all-encompassing threat across SIDS and least developing coastal economies. Globally, several facilities and mechanisms exist to provide climate financing to countries that are facing the impacts of climate change. There's Global Environment Facility, which manages two special funds, the Special Climate Change Fund and the Least Developed Countries Fund. In addition, there's the Green Climate Fund, which was created under the Paris Agreement. There's the Adaptation Fund under the Kyoto Protocol. There's Commonwealth Climate Finance Access Hub and several multilateral and bilateral donors providing climate financing. However, climate financing has remained a persistent challenge for developing countries and SIDS. Funds are either unavailable, inadequate, or too complicated to access due to lack of clear guidelines and bureaucratic procedures. Moreover, many SIDS are being classified as middle-income countries, therefore are ineligible for concessional financing. SIDS have also been exploring alternative and innovative financing mechanisms, including blended financing, blue bonds, de-risking instruments, and debt for nature swap, etc. However, the usage is sporadic, insufficient, and has limitations. Friends, issues of such magnitude require global solidarity, a shared vision, and coherent strategies. To effectively address the issue of economic integration, a whole host of measures, including a combination of these financial instruments, customized to the specific need and circumstances of each country, may be necessary. Additionally, capacity building, sharing expertise, enhancing financial literacy, and reforming regulatory frameworks are crucial for successful implementation. Let me briefly touch upon what India is doing. Echoing the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, India's development partnership approach towards the SIDS, as well as South-South cooperation, is rooted in PM Modi's vision of 5 Cs. It is consultation, cooperation, communication, creativity, and capacity building. India has been providing assistance bilaterally, regionally through the forums such as FIPIC and India CARICOM Summit, and through mechanisms such as India-UN Development Partnership Fund and IPSA Fund at the UN. India, as a large emerging economy, has taken a number of global initiatives such as the International Solar Alliance, Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure, and Global Biofuels Alliance that can be leveraged by SIDS. Our Sagarmala program and Maritime India Vision 2030 offer replicable models for infrastructure-led coastal development. India's strategic initiatives, including the Maritime Amrit Kal Vision 2047, entails climate-smart practices, innovative models, and regional partnerships. In the area of capacity building, India's ITEC program provides maritime training, including on fisheries development, and is setting up centers in several SIDS countries. In order to have eco-friendly and sustainable tourism, India's Mishti program has been launched to restore and conserve mangroves while also promoting community participation and income opportunities. Our Mahasagar Doctrine model and holistic advancement for security and growth across region promotes inclusive maritime cooperation with Global South, especially Indian Ocean and Pacific nations. Friends, cooperation, particularly regional cooperation, is crucial to strengthen resilience and collective growth. In this context, I would like to highlight that the recently concluded 54th Pacific Island Forum Leaders Meeting witnessed signing of a treaty for the Pacific Resilience Facility, PRF, which is the first PIF treaty signed in 40 years and is designed to shape Pacific region's own finance mechanism to reduce dependency on global funds and will provide a more direct way to finance community resilience projects. The forum also endorsed Blue Pacific Ocean of Peace Declaration, reflecting Pacific's intent to uphold a peaceful and stable region. On the Caribbean side, the 49th CARICOM Summit held recently served as a critical platform to consolidate regional solidarity and advance joint responses to existential threats such as climate change, inequality, and global marginalization. Last year, the Antigua and Barbuda Agenda for SIDS, ABBAS, which was adopted last year, offers a transformative vision for addressing SIDS challenges, emphasizing resilience building, sustainable development, and social equity as cornerstones for a secure and prosperous futures. Frameworks are thus available to address the priorities of SIDS and Global South. I'm sure that the panelists assembled here today will deliberate further. I look forward to interesting discussions. Thank you.
Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished guests and colleagues. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you here for this plenary. As we have just heard, small island developing states and emerging maritime economies are not just the custodians of some of the world's richest ocean resources, they're also on the front lines of climate change, global trade shifts, and economic transformation. Despite their vast exclusive economic zones and strategic geographic positions, These nations often face structural barriers, including limited access to finance, climate-induced vulnerabilities, and dependency on external trade networks. Today's discussion will focus on how we can reimagine the blue economy for SIDS and emerging maritime nations, making it more inclusive, resilient, and fair. In this regard, this panel will explore innovative trade mechanisms, investment models, regional partnerships, and approaches that enable these countries to lead as stewards of the oceans, not just as participants in the global maritime economy. I come to each one of you to hear from you, to begin with understanding what from your country's or your region's perspective do you see are the opportunities or the challenges in this space? So I'll begin with you.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Sagamatan for inviting us here. It's important that small island developing countries always have a platform such as this so the rest of the world can understand the challenges we are facing. And before I move further, I would also like to just acknowledge what is happening in the Caribbean with Hurricane Melissa, and as it bears down on our Caribbean brothers, Jamaica. It is also moving towards the southern part of the Bahamas. And so we all have those persons in prayers, and we are hoping for the best for those islands in the Caribbean. I'm also here to represent my Minister for Energy and Transport, the Honorable Jobette Kobe Davis. But the Bahamas, let me give you a perspective on the Bahamas for those who may not know the Bahamas. The Bahamas is a country consisting of 700 islands and over 2,400 keys, situated in the North Atlantic Ocean, some 50 miles east of the coast of Florida, stretched for 500 miles, heading west. We're just south of Cuba, Hispaniola, which shares Haiti and the Dominican Republic. 30 of those islands are inhabited. And so the Bahamas is an island that is vulnerable to climate change. And our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, in every international stage that he goes on, he discusses how vulnerable these small island developing states are as it relates to climate change. Now, the Bahamas emits about 0.01 greenhouse emissions that they contribute to the greenhouse emissions. We are a low-level island, some 3 feet above sea level. And if we don't change the trajectory of climate change, in 2050, it is estimated that some 60% of our shoreline will be gone. And by 2100, all of our beaches and shoreline, our beaches will be gone. And this is what we are facing here in the Bahamas as it relates to climate change. Again, due to the rise in the sea levels, the storm surges from hurricanes. And just recently in 2019, we were faced with a Category 5 hurricane, Dorian. The official death toll was some 74 persons and some 280 plus still missing today. And so we know the challenges, and we pray for Jamaica, and we pray also for the rest of the Caribbean islands that is going through this storm. And also India and the Caribbean would have created a partnership some years ago. And as it relates to to the ocean, to the blue economy. India has pledged support to the Caribbean, to CARICOM countries, with assistance of the technology field, education, and the expertise that India shares throughout the world. And we are very grateful and we are happy that they are doing so. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Fanny, I'll come to you. You want to touch upon the challenges and the opportunities for Tonga?
Yes. Hello. Thank you, Anusha, and thank you, Aura, for this invitation opportunity to speak here today. The question about the challenge of small island developing states is a good one, but I want to put forward that even though SIDS is our description that is commonly used, I think a more accurate and appropriate description is big ocean states. So that would be BOSS, and that's what we are. But by our nature, we are small economies of scale. This is one of the challenges. We are isolated and our distance is far. That makes it very hard to conduct business with us. And as one of the fellow panelists mentioned yesterday, we're at the very end of the supply chain. But one of the opportunities that lies with us, as I mentioned before, is our ocean. Tonga is a population of only 100,000, which is 1 lakh. And similarly, our neighboring country, the Kiribati, is only 1 lakh as well, but their EEZ is far larger than that of India, and your population is over 1 billion. So we may be small in landmass and population, but our ocean is what our resources are, and that's where our opportunities lie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. So, Mr. Joma, please.
Thank you. Bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everyone. Allow me, please, to bring a small contribution to the previous panel, answering the question of the overlap for the different departments. As a previous head of governments, you know, whatever the chart you put, you set up, you have overlaps. All the economic issues or the economic aspects are connected, and even they are connected with social, with security, with politics. So there is 2 main things to ensure that everything is going well, is a shared vision for the whole team, and then the mechanism of decision making when you have this cross departments or this cross ministries decision to have, or problems, issues to treat. I think I'm coming from Tunisia. It's not an island, but we have islands. So what I would like to, my contribution is how really to build the right strategy, the right vision to take advantage of this particularity and to cover all the risks around and the challenges that we have to withstand. I think for the small the islands, smaller you are, more important is to integrate the environment. You cannot do things by yourself. So establishing your vision, establishing your program, establishing your priority for the country or for the island, it's important in a strategy to start with the environment. So it imposes some constraints on logistics, on the supply chain. So it's important to be aware and to work with your environment to be connected to the mainstream lines of logistics, to be connected to the main ports as well, because it's a problem of logistics. Which kind of activity you have to create, it's important. We know generally we are in the small islands, we are in the orientation to go to tourism, and I can say for my country we have islands, and one of the famous one is Jerba, which is a large touristic destination, but it could not work if it's not a part of another land with a global vision. So the point here is really to take into account and to be integrated to that. The second point is that today it offers some advantages as well, not only tourism. You are surrounded by sea, so we have the fishing economy, the blue economy, the production of clean and green energy, and it could be as well some relay or a kind of a part of network to deliver and to supply services. That's why the digital connecting is very, very important because it allows to open larger space, larger markets for a local production. So my point here is really for the small islands is to pay attention to the fact that they should be a part of a network. And even for financing, for the funding, for creating activity, it's important to collaborate with the environment and the nearest country to have a common vision for the region, but common tools, and to harmonize all the regulation, customs regulation, in many aspects of the economy. And we can transform these logistic constraints into opportunities by creating a network, delivering something that the others, they cannot deliver.
Thank you, sir. Luciana, I'll come to you from Papua New Guinea's perspective.
Thank you, Anisha. Papua New Guinea is in the southwest Pacific. We have a landmass of about 426,000 kilometres square. We're very rich in extractive resources, petroleum, oil, gas, gold, cobalt, nickel, and various other byproducts. We have major opportunities as we sit geostrategically very close to Australia. And we are attached with a landmass that sits within the jurisdiction of Indonesia. We are Melanesians as people, so we sit in a sub-region called Melanesia, and we share that sub-region with Fiji, Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, and the Papuan provinces of Indonesia. We have an incredible population growth issue that can be used for our advantage. We're growing at about, we understand, this is in the absence of the collection of data that can verify these figures, but we think we're growing at a rate of 3.2% exponential, which provides incredible natural resources, but it challenges our institutions of state. We're a unicameral system of parliament, so we have a single House of Parliament. We have 118 districts and 22 provinces and one autonomous region. We've had war in our country that resulted from conflict from a copper mine outside of the mainland of Papua New Guinea, which lasted 20 years. That has affected our bilateral and multilateral relationships, and it will continue to impact the way we assess and understand resource extraction, but also an understanding of who we are as an island state. I think our greatest opportunity is our people. We're 50 years old. We turned 50 this year. We celebrated our 50 years of independence from Australia. And we are an incredible state that sits with incredible cultural diversity. We have about 100 different languages, so our cultural diversity is a benefit, but it's also an incredible challenge. And we have a constitution that protects our rights as Indigenous people to our land and sea. Thank you, Anisha.
Yeah, thanks, Luciana. Mr. Saadabaza.
Thank you very much, Anisha. This is an excellent and timely topic for small islands and emerging states. But before I answer your question, I want to say two preliminary observations. First one is to thank Dr. Samir and his wonderful team for bringing all of us here. And the second one is about small island traps on colonial legacy. My own country, we are a Comoros island, is in the Indian Ocean between Madagascar and Mozambique. we are an archipelagos of 4 islands. One of them is still ruled by France. So the legacy of colonial power have a direct impact on blue economy today. By being there, they claim half of the exclusive economic zone, saying that's our house. So we can build any other project on this, because if we manage to build a partnership with India, France will come to India and say, you are not allowed to do anything on these parts of the ocean. So colonial legacy is still impacting our policy, the way we view ourselves, and the way we try to build ourselves. It's still remain locked on this trap. So in Comoros, we have a challenge, of course. One of them, of course, is political instability, because of the fact that just in the same islands, you have different authorities. And of course, you have a different level of development. That creates political instability. And it's quite difficult to focus on your own. Every morning, we remind you that, oh, what we do with you? Can we get it back? No, not today. And that's focus your mind instead of focusing on developing the country, on educating people, on take the opportunities. So in 2023, this small island named Comoros, we managed to get the chairmanship of the African Union. And we traveled around the whole continent to promote, of course, our own interest, but also the interest of the continent. And I came here with my president in New Delhi to be part of the G20 summit to make sure African Union has a seat at the G20. So just to tell you, we have a challenge and we have opportunities, but as it was said before, I guess we have more challenge if we master and harness the winds and cyclone, because then we can focus on developing blue economy, link with Mauritius, link with Tanzania, link with Kenya. Comoros is the home of the oldest fish in the world, named Salakant. Salakant is the name of the football team. So we have still lots of opportunity to go, but that need political stability. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'll come to you, sir, again. So the Bahamas has been, of course, exploring blue economy diversification from tourism to fisheries to, exploring that entire space. So what, according to you, has worked or not worked in terms of innovative trade models, or what policies and partnerships do you see that can help further?
So again, let me say that the Bahamas land mass is some 3,860 square miles, and its exclusive economic zone covers about 242 plus thousand square miles. And some of the other Caribbean nations, such as Barbados, their land mass is 430 kilometers squared, with a exclusive economic zone of 183,000 kilometers squared. And so in the Caribbean, we have an opportunity to gain as best as we can from our ocean. And as a result of this, and the geographical location of the Caribbean places in a strategic zone connecting North Atlantic trade route to the south, as Mexico, the South Americas, and those states. So we have an opportunity now to leverage our blue economy, our digital technology, and strategic partnerships. And by that, we need to shift away from the regular fishing. Our ocean produces a lot of seafood. The Caribbean and the Bahamas especially, we thrive on our seafood. One of our delicacies is the conch. And so how do we shift? We want to get into the aquaculture, and it requires funding. We're seeking partnerships from investors, countries from around the world to come and invest. We harvest the Nassau grouper and the spiny lobster. They contribute a lot to our export and a lot to our country. But we want to ensure that we are able to sustain our seafood, our ocean by aquaculture. Also creates an opportunity to ensure that we have our food security. All right. And so those are some examples. And also by the public-private partnership. Again, we are a country of a number of islands. We have one of the major shipping ports located in one of our islands, Grand Bahama. But climate change has a negative effect on our maritime industry as well. So we are seeking partnership through the public-private partnership to help the government not only build the capacity to also shore up our shoreline from the climate threats of sea level rise. We also have for an example, many countries around the world sell products to the south. By building a cargo facility in the Bahamas, with the backing of the government to ensure that those cargo facilities are used, it creates also manufacturing companies or countries to reduce the lead time that their products will reach those parts of the world. And so we encourage, and you will often hear the Bahamas and the government says that the Bahamas is open for business. And it means in every which way in our tourist sector, our tourism is our number one industry, but there's a threat as it relates to climate change. And with these partnerships, it will also help to strengthen our industries in the maritime, our oceans. We value the support India is giving to explore the ocean, to see what other resources are there, how we could better leverage those resources. And the Bahamas, as a result, is looking to be one of those countries that we could survive in years to come. The Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, is stressing the fact that if something does not change, we will become climate refugees. And many of the other countries and the small island countries and in the Caribbean is facing the same issues. Again, one of the leverages is the digital trade corridors, all right, e-logistics integration. And what it means is we want to use the digital platform to purchase goods from those countries from around the world without necessarily having to set up hubs in the Bahamas, but be able to, consumers, be able to, on a digital platform, order their goods and transition through the Bahamas and to the rest of the countries as quickly as possible. And what that means is our countries in the Caribbean need to pool their resources, come together. We spend in the Caribbean billions of dollars importing goods from around the world. What we need is to reduce that by coming together, ensuring that there's a hub in the Bahamas, there's one in Jamaica, for example, there's one in Barbados, shorten and lengthen the time for getting these products to and from, and also as a network for those countries whose goods are going to the south, going through Mexico, South America, and other parts of the world. The Bahamas and the Caribbean is strategically located in doing so. And again, we need to share those those resources. We need to shore up our country coastline. We need to reduce our carbon footprint. The Bahamas has pledged to do so by 30% in the year 2030. Most of our carbon emissions, greenhouse emissions, is from the energy sector and the transportation sectors. And we now see a lot of those ships converting into LNG. And India would have also partnered with the Bahamas to create an LNG port in Nassau that will provide LNG to the cruise ship. You know, the Bahamas is one of the leading cruise destinations in the world. And all these initiatives will help us greatly in our survival.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Fanny, I'll come to you. So Tonga has been, of course, advancing innovation, not just in ocean governance, but also involved in a lot of regional diplomacy. What innovative trade models would you think are working for Tonga, and how can we advance that further?
Thank you, Anusha. One of the innovative trade models that I think Tonga can expand on and strengthen would be the inter-island regional trade. So between islands such as Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, those are our neighboring countries. Together we have a lot of similarities in terms of our needs and wants, and our lifestyles would, definitely attract the same types of things that we'd be looking for. Another one would be trading outside of the region, looking at non-traditional partners. So for Tonga, we trade a lot with New Zealand, Australia, even as far as America. But having lived in India for a little bit and being back here now, I know that there's a lot India and Tonga in the region can offer each other, especially down south in areas like Kerala and Trivandrum. You have a lot of technology based around things like coconut husk and how it helps with erosion. And things like that are very common in the South Pacific, and these are things we can work together, and it will very much complement each other. There's a large population of Indians in Fiji, so the trade between Fiji and India is very strong. And for a country like Tonga, I think we could really tap into the trade agreements that Fiji already has existing and sort of piggyback on it, really, to be honest. That could work very well.
Yeah. Thanks, Vanessa. I'll come to you. You stressed on digitalization and connectivity both. Could you just elaborate a little bit further on how it can work to advance the objectives?
Yeah, you know that a large part of the economy now is moving on the digital space. And the constraint with islands or small islands is logistics, how to connect physically. But since we have an economy with this large part now, considerable part, it's on the digital flows, on the digital channels. So it's important for the islands to integrate that as fundamental of any vision of any development of the economies. You know, any island, if you develop, for example, tourism, associated to tourism, you will create a brand of this island, of this country, or even in this island. And behind the brand, you can create a whole economic activity with the traditional goods, traditional way, with the fishing, with many things that you can create around that you can, after, spread them and sell them and market them on this global network, which is the digital. Allow me to bring another remark, which is important for the small islands, which are really opportunities. We are speaking about the global South today, and I think, on my sense, that it's a real opportunity on the global South. Why? Because there is something which is moving. It's multipolar with many leading countries, but these countries with another culture, because we were in a configuration where there is a big decision and we have to follow that. Today we are aware, and India, China, Brazil, they are aware that what we have to design for the future have to be co-designed and no more one design, and we have to position ourselves with that and to be satisfactory to the deciders. And that means that it gives weight and it gives voice to any part of this world to have a voice and to get its part in the design and its part after in the development of that, and co-design, co-chair, and co-act together. So it's really important that the second opportunity for me is the renewable energies, the green energy, the blue economy, the green economy. There is many opportunities with that, and we hope that with the progress of the technology, like hydrogen technology, it will give a huge leverage to the island with their wind and solar production and the capacity to storage, to create other sectors of energy and to play another role in this network of the supply chain.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. Tulsiana, before I come to you, I think I'll go to Mr. Saidabaz Ahmed. So if I may ask you, the Comoros is one of the world's most biodiverse, rich regions. So how do you see maybe regional partnerships or any partnerships that can help turn this ecological wealth or transform this ecological wealth into economic strength without compromising on the sustainability?
Thank you very much. This is a very interesting question. And you're absolutely right. We cannot compromise sustainability. Islands are specific in very fragile place. So we are fixing now the issue of electricity. That was a big issue for us. And we built a strong partnership with the Emirates. And they are building lots of solar central in Comoros. So I hope within 2 or 3 years, we will be able to provide enough energy for everybody and for developing industries. And then we have some specific sectors, but given the specific sectors, I still think, as my colleague here, education is the cornerstones. Literacy of internet, literacy of new technology, focusing on education. And that's very, very important. You know, for instance, in Comoros, we are the only place where you can produce, please listen carefully, everybody can produce ilang-ilang. Ilang-ilang is a flower that is a major component of the perfume. But we are the only country in the world that you produce the ilang-ilang that can produce the super extra, which is component major of the Channel 5. Everybody in the room knows Channel 5. And Channel 5 is composed of the majority by ilang-ilang from Comoros. So I think small islands can go on a niche and secure some niche and focus on them and add value that will keep sustainability and at the same time put you on the map of the global economy and the global south. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very interesting, sir. Tulsiana, I'll come to you now again, back to Papua New Guinea and what we were discussing backstage as well. It represents a larger emerging maritime economy, especially to do with significant natural resources. And considering the work that you already do, how do you see the role of inclusive development, especially women's participation and local community empowerment, as we do while we look at trade models, while we look at digitalization, while we look at biodiversity? How can we have these communities involved, or how we can have empowerment towards an equitable blue economy, towards an equitable?
Thank you, Anusha. We have the great fortune of a constitution that is equitable and provides rights and protections to Indigenous people that we're very proud of. And while we sit at the fork in the road as a country that sits geostrategically in the Pacific Ocean, we have great opportunities to emerge. But unless we configure the appropriate cooperation at the macro level that sorts issues like the structural issues like energy, like the issues of political interference, the issues of institutional capacity, we will not be able to realise the aspirations of our constitution. And so when we look at an extractive sector like the mineral extractive sector, we have very respectable legislative, regulatory and policy parameters that define the commercial arrangements for how resources are extracted and on what terms. But our people very significantly sit at the table. The issue becomes one of state capture and elite capture. And so I think strategically, where we sit geographically provides an opportunity to be shadowed and mentored by Western developed countries like Australia and New Zealand, to have strong bilateral and multilateral partnerships that provide the governance that's required in relation to high-level commitments and international treaties like FPIC that provide the underpinning for how our people are included in conversations according to high-level arrangements that are made that are commercial for the extraction of resources, benefit-sharing arrangements, local content, national content. So in terms of the legislative space and the regulatory space, we have captured the aspirations of our constitution. It's the implementation and the enforcement. Because of where we sit geographically, we're attracting a lot of illegal fisheries. We have massive economic EEZs, so 200 miles from the baseline of where Papua New Guinea sits. We're a partner in an agreement, the PNA, the Nauru Agreement, which means that we are, while we're a big country, we're a small country in a large ocean. Combating the issues of transnational crime, human trafficking, will become the priorities, and so our people tend to be left out of the conversation because education has not, the benefits from the extractives haven't reached our people in real time so that household income may improve. I think the special opportunity that is available to Papua New Guinea is that we do have 7 to 8% of the world's biodiversity. Our people are an ancient people, so they're still living like we did 40,000 years ago. So we're benefiting from our Indigenous knowledge and our capacity to be able to survive the climatic changes. But when we move into climate risks like heat stress on water bodies, we become defeated. Our people no longer understand, as our languages break down, we're struggling from the reality of the challenges of climate. So I think technological advancements that allow markets to come to our people in remote areas will be the biggest gift to Papua New Guinea. We've had recent cooperation. We've been able to enhance our relationship with Australia, our closest and most powerful neighbour, in a defence treaty that actually has the opportunity to complement our own development frameworks and our own trading aspirations, and of course our membership in fora like the Melanesian Spearhead Group and the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat, ASEAN and APEC. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we're running out of time. Do we have time for one question, maybe? Just one question?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ayush from Purnia, Bihar, pursuing Masters in Public Health from TISS Mumbai. So my question is, small island developing states are on the front line of climate change, making their health vulnerable to ocean-related disasters. How are international partners assisting SIDS, Health Administration, in moving from reactive disaster response to proactive climate resilient health system planning and financing?
So would you like to take it, Mr. Choma?
Yes. I think first, as a country responsible of your country, if it's island or not, the first thing is what you are doing. Because if you are expecting what the others will do for you, I think the wait can be long. Okay, you know, it's a big debate about the challenge of the climate So, but we are all aware that we have we are sharing the same world, the same planet, and we have to act together. Some of the big actors are not again aware of the challenges facing us. Again, I will come back to my idea of the global South, and I think if there is something to do, and we are seeing what is happening in this shift, something to do is really to install that in the global South heart of the question that we have to treat, that to have forecast, that we have to prepare for the future. Because as we said, today the global South, it's a space where we can decide together, we can discuss, because all the major actors of the global South are aware that we have to get this approach in facing the challenges, but creating the opportunities. Two things to answer your question. First, you have to rely on yourself and to do things, because all the challenges, you have to take into account that all the challenges, if you handle them, if you treat them well, are opportunities. And second, think about the global South and all the representatives of the islands today, and small islands are a part of the global South. I think it's a co-working, co-decision space which we could together elaborate the future and face the challenges.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I thank my panelists as well for keeping the time. Thank you. Thank you, Pulkit. Over to you.